I'm Van.
I'm Sori.
That's Lavi.
And Salty and Chip.
And we're about to do some Testament.
Yes, we are.
Another band. That's so gross to me that you're still drinking that.
Why? It's just coffee.
It's a day old.
So?
Yikes.
It's been in the refrigerator.
Yikes. All right, so this is practice what you preach.
Yep. Okay, you guys ready?
Testament. We haven't done Testament before.
No, we haven't. And practice what you preach sounds like we'll probably have plenty to say on it.
Inshallah. This is a lyric video?
Yep.
All right, let's do it. Testament.
Go. I like it when it starts out good. like the way they say preach. Preach.
I was like, is this Metallica?
Yeah, it had a Metallica sound like it.
Exactly like Metallica.
The lyrics, I think, were a little, I think, I don't know.
What are you trying to say?
I don't know.
Metallica?
Yeah.
Yeah, I usually never give Hetfield his credit for writing, but
they did have a very Metallica sound to them.
they sounded exact.
When did they come out?
1989 was when this record came out.
Okay.
It sounded like the record labels were just scrambling for Metallica-style bands.
Maybe.
Because this sounds exactly like Metallica.
People are going to be so mad.
What do you want from me, guys?
I know.
I'm telling you the truth as I see it.
Yeah.
This is my opinion. This is my reaction.
That's what a reaction is.
It's my reaction. Sorry, it's not for me to make you... I
mean, I don't know.
Just got to give the exact truth.
Right.
Are you going to tell me that these guys don't sound like Metallica at all? I mean... Sounds like... I'm not saying that they're not talented. It just, like...
No, they're definitely talented.
It just seems like the record execs were like... We need to figure this crap out. Like, we need to, come on.
So, what did you think about the lyrics?
I just feel like overall the song was just,
I know.
It's just, I don't know.
I know.
I'm not really, very repetitive.
Yeah.
Like, who asked for this? Was this because I've seen a bunch of Testament requests.
Mm-hmm.
Like, was this
I mean, I don't write down people's names, babe.
But was this like a consistent Testament request?
I mean, I've seen it. But there's a special reason why this one was done. You stop asking me these questions.
Tell me, Maya. I think you need to figure out that algorithm because...
But we'll talk about that offline. Let's focus on the song right now. No, I hear what you're saying. I don't know what to tell you.
This song is Sori's doing.
Thank you, honey. Like, let's not take the fall together. Whoever you are, you know who you are. I mean, this was your doing.
Well, it's just I'm gonna critique this. I'm gonna be honest with my review of the song. I just remember a lot of people asking for Testament.
Yeah.
And I don't remember specifically this song, but now that I'm understanding your algorithm, it makes sense. But I don't know. I feel like we're gonna get a bunch of Testament people saying, "What the fuck? This is not the one you should have listened to." We will listen to more Testament.
I mean, they definitely have talent. Like, I think if you can sound like Metallica, you've got talent.
All right. Yeah. Okay, so what did you think of the song, seeing as how this is your doing?
Well, why are you so mean? I'm giving it a 4. I just think but then there was talent in the middle, so I was gonna give it a 6. What did I think about it as far as the words? I mean, it just seemed like typical. You think your life's so grand, you don't believe a word you say. Like somebody who has these thought processes, but they're not actually gonna live it out for themselves. A hypocrite, I guess. Your feet are on the ground, you let your life just slip away. I don't know. But then I don't know what it means. You let your life just slip away. Oh, maybe because what do you think?
I mean, maybe it's a critique on religion. Because people think if you devote yourself to religion that you're not really living life. Mm-hmm. So maybe it's that, like you let your life slip away. Like you're not living your own life because you're bound by this religion. Of course, like what people don't understand.
Oh, just so uncertain of your body and your soul.
Yeah.
Because they make all these decisions based on I don't want to go to hell.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
And I do think there's probably religious people like that out there.
Yeah.
But as far as like how Christianity has affected us, like it's not something where like in my mind I say I have to practice Christianity. Like it's a way of life. Period. It's not like something I practice. It's like who I am as a person. Mm-hmm. So it's like there's no aspect of my life that Christianity doesn't touch at all. Like literally none. Mm-hmm. So what I'm saying is like it's not an effort thing. Like I don't think about it consciously. Like that's my life. Mm-hmm. The issue is everybody has something that grounds their life. That is the lens through which you look at the world. So like when people say, "Oh, you're losing," religion isn't everything. It's like everybody has an everything. So like if you replace religion with something, something is going to fill the gap and be the everything that you guide your life by.
Right.
So it's like, it's it's kind of a weird thing to me when I hear people say that, like, oh, religion isn't everything, because really what they're saying is you should take my guiding presupposition about life.
Right.
Because their guiding presupposition is something, and then religion is like over here, where it's flipped for me. Like my relationship with God is everything, and then the other stuff is like only finds significance insofar as it relates to God. So like, it's the whole concept that you're wasting your life by devoting yourself to religion is a strange idea to me. And of course, on the other side, a religious person could say you're letting your life slip away because you're not devoting it to God, and He's the ultimate reality, and blah blah blah. And we go in circles, and I'm not really sure that those are helpful conversations, because they kind of put people in the defense.
Oh yeah.
But then again, I do think that there are people that feel their life is just slipping away, whether they're religious or not.
Well, I think that when you say something like that on like a channel like us, like there's going to be bunches of people that have that, like, yeah, that's how I feel. I feel like my life is slipping away.
Right.
And you're still going to have people that aren't going to like it. But when it's just one person that you're talking to, and you're like, you're letting your life slip away, it really depends on where that person is in their life. Because if they're already feeling like that, then they'll be fine to hear something like that. Because they're going to want a solution to the problem.
Right, and the second verse is there seems to be some resentment. You think you have your life completely in control. And like, there seems to be some resentment for a person that feels like they have their life in control.
Yeah.
And people say things like, oh, you have it all figured out.
Yeah, yes, I've heard that so many times.
And like, people resent that.
Yeah.
Like, why would you resent that? Go figure stuff out yourself.
Maybe
then. Like, why are you upset about that?
When you're unhappy, like, everything can kind of make you angry. Like, when you're stressed out or you're in a bad mood, like, the smallest things that on a normal day you'd be fine with. So maybe, like, just generally they're just kind of, they're not happy. So when they see you being all happy, it's like,
well, they're not
got it all figured out.
They're not saying you're happy. They're saying, oh, you
confident of your decisions. Maybe they're not confident of their, I don't know.
Well, it's interesting. There's been some interesting reactions to when somebody asked us in a fireside, do you believe that all other religions are wrong? And I said, well, Jesus didn't give us the option. He said, I'm the way, truth, and life. Nobody comes to God but by me.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that makes everything else wrong.
Yeah.
Or it means Jesus is wrong, but they can't be true simultaneously.
Right.
Like.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and then there seems to be some sort of resentment towards that idea, and it's like, okay, are you saying that everything else is wrong? And if you're saying that that's wrong, then how are you doing anything different?
Right.
You're saying that one of my premises are wrong. Now, we need to have a discussion about it, but why are you upset about that?
I don't know why people get upset about it.
Well, it's because we're postmodernists, and everybody's kind of been raised in this milieu that there's no such thing as truth. Or that truth can't be attained by a person. But of course, the minute you say there's no such thing as truth, that's a statement of truth.
Right.
So it's like, it's an inherently, destructive ideology, so it's like, I think it's what you do with it. Like, I don't go around, like, I didn't start the fireside saying, hey guys, Jesus is the only way. Like, people ask me a question.
Yeah, we just start talking about whatever. And
like, that's the amazing thing, like, people get upset when I answer a question. Like, I didn't ask the question, I didn't initiate the conversation.
Yeah, I know. I think, though, that because you're so confident about your answers, and, like, other people, like, think that they're gonna, they come into the discussion, some people come into the discussion, or into the messaging on the side, in the chat, like, it seems like their goal is to, like, trap you. It doesn't, I'm not sure that all the time it's about a pursuit of...
I think some callers probably, but I think people are genuinely asking the question. There have been so many genuine questions, I think, in the fireside chat. I just don't think that they're used to that sort of, like, short, blunt, of course. There's a lot of hemming and hawing that you're supposed to do. There's, like, you're supposed to apologize for believing that you have the truth. Like, I'm not going to apologize for that. Like, why would I apologize for that? Like, I don't, us, we don't bash people over the head with it.
No.
But if people ask us a question, we're going to answer honestly.
I don't know.
But I think I think we've all been, like, trapped in postmodernism, which is this idea that you can never really ascertain the truth and know the truth, if truth even exists as an issue. So all of us, like, default to that. So when you have a person that answers in a way that's not postmodern, it it kind of takes people like, you know, like, and even in the last conversation, like that's some of the issues that we were having in communication, and I tried to call it out, but it's too long to unpack, which is like, I don't come from the perspective that we can just change things and randomly change concepts and ideologies to fit our, you know. So it's kind of interesting. Like I get it. Like typically religious fundamentalists are like this. They come at you in a certain way and they bash you over the head and all the rest of it. And what people don't realize is that there are postmodernist fundamentalists who believe that anybody who says that they have the truth is heretical and should be persecuted. And like a lot of us don't have that self-awareness to say, yes, there are religious fundamentalists. There's also postmodern fundamentalists. There's fundamentalists in every belief system. Yeah. You know, and so it's like, so I get the song, like it makes sense. And yeah, of course, you know, you know, there's a lot of people that don't practice what they preach for sure. And you know, we've talked about that a bunch. Like we just talked about that with the whole, no disrespect to the Catholics, but the whole situation with the Catholic Church. And, you know, Jesus' opinion of children is clear. Like the kingdom of heaven belongs to children. Yeah. You know, like, you know, allow the children to come to me. And Jesus saying things like very extreme things like don't cause one of the little ones to stumble and things like that. Like, like that God, you know, and he says, like, take care of the kids because their angels see the face of God. Like, they're going to report you. You know, and then, like, that's the preaching on kids. And then you have this whole situation where all these adults with religious authority are taking advantage of kids. Yeah. And that's, like, completely and it's a strange phenomenon where people are starting to defend them. Understand. And it's well, you know, like because people I think people feel threatened that if you criticize people in your own, and this is another thing that I saw in the last fireside, like people think that if you criticize people in your own camp or like the major players in your camp, that means therefore that your camp religion or whatever is completely false. Yeah. No, it just means that this group or this institution. I think it makes an institution more trustworthy if they can say this is wrong and this is right. Like this is flaws these are the issues we have, because we've said before everybody is flawed, everybody sins. Right. So if you're going to go about saying that you're perfect, then there's a problem with your institution because it's not perfect. So that means you're hiding shit. Right. I was just talking to somebody today about it, man. Unbelievable. Yeah. And I gotta say this for the sake of self-awareness. Everybody wants to protect their given institutions or their given worldviews. I don't know if it's because it makes it feel like that it reflects on them or why we're like that as people, but yeah, I really think that people feel threatened if they call it. That's why it doesn't happen. Yeah. You know, like that's obvious. But yeah, practicing. Yeah, so you know, it's kind of like I listened to the song, listened to the lyrics, I'm like, this is exactly what I thought he was gonna say. But at the same time, it's like, you know, you've got a lot to learn. The bridge you burn, it's going to take its toll. And, you know, it makes you wonder, like, because, you know, you've seen Christians that are like, oh, I'm just being persecuted or whatever. When it's like, no, you're just being a jerk. Yeah. Like, you know, it's not that you're being, you know, Jesus said we'd be persecuted. Well, yeah, he said you'd be persecuted, but he didn't say be a jerk either. Right. Like, you know, so some of us... You've seen it. Yeah. And, you know, I'm sure some people would say, well, you're a jerk, Vin. You know, sure. But, like, you can burn bridges unnecessarily. Oh, you think that's what the burn bridge... I didn't understand that burn bridges part. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I can only see it from a Christian perspective, but I do think, like, as a religious person, you can burn bridges unnecessarily, like, for no reason. You know, by being, like, overboard and not having balance in your understanding of things and the way that you present things. You know, like if a person says, is Jesus the only way? And I say, of course, and you ugly person, you're going to hell and blah, 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 blah. Like that's a jerk way to answer that question. Of course. Because the follow-up to that was, okay, then the most of the world is going to hell. And I said, no, I don't think most of the world's going to hell. So I do think that, like, as you grow as a person, like there's so many things to learn about, like how to handle concepts and how to handle people and how to handle each other, and things to learn about yourself, so that maybe those bridges you burned in the name of religion or God or whatever you didn't necessarily need to do that.
Yeah.
You didn't need to go there.
Yeah.
You know, like so that's a good point. That's a very, very good point. You think your lie's so grand you don't believe a word you say.
Shoot, there was something I was going to say about it.
What, that line?
It was the part before when you were talking about the burning of the bridge thing. There was something, but I've got another situation that somebody was telling me about today that's stuck in my head, and it keeps wanting to overtake my thoughts. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, the burning bridge thing. Maybe it kind of makes people feel like, you know, in like this world, like you'll tell the kids, like sometimes they'll like, hey, can I have that? You'll be like, no. And I'll be like, well, my parents would have been like, oh no, you know, you can't.
Yeah.
You know, not this, no. You know what I mean? And like, but that makes them like less like emotionally fragile people, that like the smallest thing like makes them want to whimper away. You know what I mean? Like, like they can handle, you know what I mean? All it was a no. You can't have it. No, that's it. You know? But like, I don't know if, you know how like, in school and stuff, there's like participation awards, and there's all these like, no, like, you know, back when I was in school, only the best papers got posted up for everybody. Like, you got 100, your paper went up.
Right.
If you got a freaking 74, which was me, your freaking picture never got posted. Your test, it didn't. You know, unless they were doing it to shame you. I mean, that happened also, where they put our scores up there to shame us. But anyway, but that not now. Like, that's not like that now. And I'm not speaking for all schools because I don't know all schools. But I'm just saying, like, do you think that kind of mindset is kind of what makes people more fragile to being able to say, no, Jesus said that, you know.
It's hard to have relationships and conversations with people in this day and age because people are so sensitive.
Right.
Like, it's hard not to burn a bridge when a person takes a bath in gasoline. Like, you know, there's so many sensitivities that like people get triggered so quickly.
Yeah.
And then it turns into this, like, there have been so many times I've been like, why is it?
Yeah.
Not even our conversation, even conversations when I watch people within the village talking to each other, I'm like, I don't really think that what that guy said warranted that type of response. Like, and then people will come to me and say, you need to police this better. I'm like, he didn't do anything to you. He was just disagreeing with you. Like, you know, and it's interesting because like, there have been a couple people who are like, I'm out of here. I can't be part of this community where I'm like, you can't be a part of a community where people disagree with each other. That's the entire point. Like, what are you talking about? Okay. So bridge burning is interesting because you could be a crazy, jerky fundamentalist and like burn a whole bunch of bridges unnecessarily and think that you're right. You know, that's the thing. I like with religious people, like they'll like completely destroy, you know, burn the bridges, and then they'll think I'm right, you know,
and justified it.
And you know, they are, but at the same time, it's like postmodernist fundamentalists burn bridges and they think they're right. Yeah, I had a guy tell me, I'm not going to be part of this community where there's all this harassment and blah, blah, blah.
What do you mean by harassment?
I was watching the conversation develop.
Oh, because the person disagreed
and the other person simply disagreed with them. That's all they did. And it was like, they burned that bridge because they left the community and everything because the person disagreed with them. It's like, okay.
Like, I can...
All right.
Like, I don't like it when you disagree with me, but I care about your opinion. Like, maybe people just care too much about people's opinions that they don't even know.
Yeah, but you're not going to say, like, I'm done with this relationship because you disagreed with me. Like,
no.
That's what I'm talking about here.
Yeah, that's
like,
true.
I don't like when you disagree with me either. But
you don't?
No.
I thought you like it.
Well, I mean, it depends, right? Like, if we're talking about sports or music or whatever, but, like, you know, the real... You know, I like when you're feisty and you fight and you have your own whatever. I just don't like it to drag on. You know, like...
Aw.
But, like, yeah, it's weird. Like, so I get it. I appreciate the song. I just hope that people, like, realize that fundamentalism, there's not only one brand of fundamentalism. Like, that's one of the things, like, I desperately try to get people to understand. Like, this is not an ism issue. This is a human nature issue. Doesn't matter what ism you subscribe to. you have that within you to be a crazy, hypocritical fundamentalist. All of us do. Like, it's so interesting, like the whole judge not thing.
Yeah.
Like, people will judge Christians for judging.
Yes.
And not realizing that
They're judging
that in
us
itself
and
is an act of judgment, and you're a fundamentalist in your own right. Like, hello. So it's like, I just wish we all had the self-awareness to realize that this applies to all of us, because it's not an ism issue, it's a nature issue. You know, all of us by nature are like this. And again, it's kind of like with the Megadeth thing, where the author of this song is like is in some sort of like exalted position where they're telling the other person, you're wrong the entire song. And there doesn't seem to be any awareness of the person that, well, I'm like this too.
Exactly.
And that's why that original sin thing is so important to me. Because at any point when I'm criticizing somebody, it automatically triggers that inner dialogue. If you're handling that doctrine correctly, that everybody is a sinner and like radically corrupt. If you handle that properly, it doesn't stop you from criticizing other people or ideas, but it makes you kind of do the self-analysis simultaneously, and it's very, very helpful. So it's like, there's definitely religious people like that. I'm sure I've been like that, but everybody's been like this. So like, I wish there was some like awareness of, like, I'd like to find a song where a person says, I'm a hypocrite, I'm a terrible person.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, if you're always the victim,
yeah,
you're always right. People are always harming you. People are always going after you.
You're always the offended one.
You're always offended. Like, there's a problem.
like you're not Jesus.
Right.
And even he took a lot to offend Jesus. Like, he didn't walk around going, oh my gosh, you know, like. And there is a lot of shit to be offended about in Jesus' day, you know, like. So yeah.
I think that if, like, somebody watched me throughout the day, they'd be like, that girl never thinks she's wrong by what I say. But in my mind, like, I feel, oh man, I did that. I should have done that different. I'm like second guessing everything. So when somebody comes to me and is like, that you did this, I don't want to admit to it, because I'm like, I already feel like, oh my word, I'm fucking up everywhere. And then now you're saying it too. And
yeah.
So I don't know, like, I think some people, they're like, no, like, they literally, I've met people where they, like, literally think that they're just right. Like, they, you know, yeah, I know that you're not gonna like the saying, but their shit doesn't stink, you know, like that whole thing. Like, there's some people where it's like that, like they've done some horrible things, but those things never come out when they're saying out the list of atrocities that others did to them.
I don't think, you think that people think that they've never done anything wrong? Like,
some of them really act like it.
Well, the people that act like they've never done anything wrong are the people that feel the most guilty.
Maybe you're right. Maybe everybody feels, you know, yeah, maybe.
I've never ran into a person who said, I'm a perfect person. I've never done anything.
No, I'm a perfect person.
Perfect. I can personally guarantee you my perfection.
No, I have not, you know. They'll just talk about, maybe they're hiding their issues behind talking about how horrible other people have been.
Yeah. That's why I have a problem saying, like, we suck, or you know, people talk about swearing and stuff. I'm like, well, you know, I'm not
claim to be perfect.
I'm not particularly convinced that it's necessarily a bad thing, but at the same time, it's like,
yeah, I know. We've never
claimed to be perfect,
right?
You know, so it's like, you know, like, I think it was Lilo was saying that she said something like, you have a blind spot when it comes to, like, pedophile priests or something like that, as far as, like,
what's the blind spot?
Like, not being merciful to them or whatever. Because remember that guy called in and he was saying we have to take into account their mental state, and I said, no, we don't. We're not doing that. Not at all. And Leo's like, you've got a blind spot here, and blah, 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 and the whole room jumped on her. But I said in the video, like, probably. You know, I mean, if you've looked at the way that I've handled those folks in real life, like, you know, there's nothing that I can point to say, no, I've got a really balanced, Christ-like perspective on them.
Well, like, yeah, I think that you could grow in it, but at the same time, I'm like, well,
yeah, I think it's
put him in jail and see what happens to him.
Well,
you know what I'm saying? Like, people, there's knee-jerk reactions that people want to do toward these priests.
Yeah.
And, like, you're saying, get the help that you need. Don't put yourself around kids.
Well, I had to.
Don't kill yourself.
Yeah, I had to qualify it though. Like if somebody,
Okay, yeah, I see
if
what
somebody
you're saying.
said like,
Yeah, she's probably right.
if somebody said like, yo, you know, I have a drug problem, like immediately I'm like, blah 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 blah, blah, you know.
No,
Yeah,
you're
yeah, yeah.
right.
But
She's right.
with that thing, I'm like, no, fuck it, like.
Yeah.
And don't let me see you out in the real world. You know what I mean? Like,
I think you're right.
you know, I mean, she was right before church and ran into that guy, and I was like, yo.
I think she's got to be right.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't
So,
want to
like,
admit it, but I think
yeah, it's obviously a weak spot for me. It's obviously a place where I definitely need to grow as a person and as a Christian who's trying to apply the real teachings of Christ. Because there's nothing in the teachings of Christ that says, oh, aside from those people, they'll just fuck them up.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
like,
you're right.
I mean, were you there when that whole situation went down?
I was in the car.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You rolled up and you know.
It's so hard for me not to like go up when there's a conflict like that going on. I don't know why stuff like that doesn't scare me. Maybe because I haven't really seen like a lot of stuff. You know, like I don't know how bad things could get. But whenever there's something, like I always want to be like right there, front row. But that's probably what it is. I just haven't seen anything like.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, it wasn't gonna.
Well, you can't predict what he's gonna do.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. Maybe you could.
But my point is that, you know, like it's and you know what? There's probably millions of other blind spots. That's just the one that got pointed out. Mm-hmm. But that's why we have like those conversations. That's why you need to have conversations and not get triggered and defensive all the time.
That's true.
Because the only person in that room that would have said something is Lilo, because she constantly criticizes me every single time.
Yeah.
She's there for every fireside, and I don't think she's ever said anything positive about me ever.
Uh-huh.
But she's the only one that's going to be able to identify that hypocrisy, right? Like, you know, because everybody else is like, yeah, Vin, fuck that shit. You know, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, so you need people like that in your life. You need people that will call you on this shit in your life. Otherwise, you know, you're going to be in an echo chamber the whole time.
Yeah, and that's not good, obviously.
You know? All right, what do you give the song?
Well, like I said, like it was okay. Lyrically, it's a 4. Musically, I understand that it sounds very much like Metallica. If I just go off talent and I separate the Metallica thing from it, I'd give it like an 8. So I think I'm going to go with like a 6 or a 7. What are you going with?
It's a 4 for me. Very strong, no doubter 4.
Because it sounds so much like Metallica?
The lyric, well, I mean, you know, when Korn came out, everybody sounded like Korn. I mean, it's not that. It's just...
You don't think that they did good musically?
It was all right. I mean,
really?
It was forgettable.
The soloing?
It's forgettable to me. Okay. There were some, like, Metallica signature sections. I mean, it's just a 4 for me.
Okay, 6 for me.
The metal was forgettable. The lyrics were repetitive.
4
repetitive and super simple.
Yeah.
It's just the lyrics and the musicianship were like literally the same to me. Like,
oh really?
Yeah, just.
Oh wow, okay.
It's a 4 for me.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Okay. All the Testament fans. I guarantee you're going to be a bunch of Testament fans saying, "Yeah, you should. This song was terrible."
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Probably.
Guaranteed. You got to fix the algorithm. Vin out.
Sorry out.
Gone.